Let's talk about something most men won't admit aloud, but almost every man has fantasized about at some point. The act of finishing on a woman. Now, I know just hearing that might trigger a mix of reactions. Some women feel confused, some feel uncomfortable, and some are just curious. But here's what most people don't realize. This desire isn't just about the obvious. It's not about being messy, rude, or degrading. In fact, in many cases, it's the opposite.
For a man, this act symbolizes something deep in emotional freedom, sexual worship, primal attraction, and psychological bonding. It's a moment where his desire is so overwhelming that he doesn't want to hold anything back. It's raw, it's vulnerable. It's a surrender of control that says, I trust you with my most intense pleasure. And spicy ladies, when a man fantasizes about that moment with you, realize that it's not just because you're physically attractive.
It's because of the energy you give off. It's the way you make him feel seen, accepted, and desired. It's the emotional safety combined with sexual confidence that you radiate. That combination is magnetic to men. And when you understand why this fantasy exists, you unlock a new level of power in your connection. Because you're not just the object of his lust.
You become the home for it. You become the place where he wants to lose himself. So today, I'm breaking down 5 reasons why men are drawn to this fantasy. Reasons that go far beyond just what happens in the bedroom. These insights are about connection, emotional triggers, and the kind of intimacy that makes a man crave you not just once, but over and over again. Let's get into it.
There's a part of male psychology that is deeply rooted in the primal need to claim, not in an unhealthy, possessive way, but in a symbolic, emotional, and sensual way. When a man fantasizes about finishing on a woman, what he's often craving, consciously or unconsciously, is the feeling of leaving a mark, of being fully accepted, and of emotionally landing in someone who makes him feel wanted. He's saying with his body, "You're the final destination of my desire." That's powerful.
You see, in our modern world, we're constantly encouraged to be polite, clean, restrained, even in intimacy. But inside every man is still that untamed energy that wants to break free and feel like he's allowed to be fully himself. When a man imagines this act, he's not thinking just about a moment of physical pleasure. He's imagining what it feels like to be so desired, so welcome, so wanted that he doesn't need to hold anything back. Realize that you become the place he finishes.
Not because of control, but because of connection. It's also symbolic. In his mind, this act says, she's mine. Not in a way that disrespects you, but in a way that deeply honors you. It's almost like a mental tattoo. His desire becomes visible. It's raw, real, and personal. Realize that in that moment, you're not just a participant. You're the focus of his climax, the one who pulled an intense reaction out of him. And that makes a man feel alive in a way few other things can. Right now, if you are still watching, I hope this video can help you. Your comments motivate me so much, so I can make more videos which you like. So hit that subscribe button and leave me a message. Let's continue.
Here's the beautiful part. This fantasy doesn't happen with just any woman. In fact, many men won't go there unless they feel completely safe and emotionally connected. When he can look at you and feel like you're not judging him, when he senses that you embrace not just the sweet and romantic side of intimacy, but also the wild and unfiltered, he becomes free.
That's when you unlock a man's true vulnerability. That's when he stops just trying to perform and starts letting go with you because he's not afraid you'll see him as less of a man. He knows you'll see him as more of one. And that's the hidden message behind this fantasy. It's about marking an emotional memory. When he finishes on you, it becomes etched in his mind as a moment of uninhibited passion, a moment where he felt powerful, but also completely safe to surrender, a moment where you didn't just accept his desire, you welcomed it. And the truth is, that's a rare gift.
Will you still find me attractive? Will you still accept me after this?
It's vulnerable. It's real. And if he feels that he can cross that line with you without shame or judgment, he feels something even deeper than lust. He feels safe. And women often underestimate how rare that is for men. So many men walk through the world with pressure on their shoulders to always be in control, to be the strong one, to keep their emotions and impulses neatly packaged. But in the bedroom, that's the one space where he's hoping he doesn't have to do that. That's where he wants to feel free. And when you show openness to even his more intense desires, that trust between you multiplies.
It tells him, you don't need to pretend with me. I see you. I want you. That's why for many men, this fantasy is about being wanted, not just accepted, but fully embraced in his desire. You become the one woman who makes him feel that his wild side doesn't need to be hidden, that he's not too much, that he's enough. And once a man feels that way with you, good luck trying to get him to stop thinking about you. Men are wired to respond to what they see. For many of them, the visual impact of a moment carries just as much weight, if not more, than the words being said or the emotions being felt. So, when a man fantasizes about finishing on you, what he's often really imagining is the visual confirmation of how powerful that connection between you truly is. It's a kind of mental snapshot.
In that moment, he gets to see his desire for you externalized. Not just feel it, not just say it, but witness it. And for many men, that's incredibly validating. It's a way of anchoring the memory in his mind. A moment where he doesn't just remember what you looked like during sex. He remembers what he felt, the passion, the tension, the intensity. That's the image that gets burned into his memory and replayed long after. But it's not just about seeing his own release. It's about seeing it on you. That visual is incredibly symbolic.
It tells him that you allowed his desire to reach you, that you weren't afraid of it, that you welcomed it. It's as if you told him without words, you don't have to hide how much you want me. And for a man, that's intoxicating. You see, most men don't want to be with a woman who just tolerates sex. They want to feel like she enjoys it, like she's fully there, uninhibited, confident in her own skin. And this fantasy is one of the ways his brain tries to see that emotional truth in a physical form. He wants to know that the experience wasn't just about him chasing you, but about both of you getting lost in the moment. He wants to believe that your body was the perfect place to land because you gave him permission to completely let go. And let's be honest, when a man is with a woman who truly embodies that confidence, who doesn't flinch at his desire but meets it with her own, he becomes obsessed, not just sexually, but emotionally, because that level of openness and acceptance is rare. And when he sees that, it imprints on him. You become more than a lover. You become a fantasy he can't get out of his head.
The truth is, this act isn't about degrading you. It's about honoring the connection. It's his way of visually expressing how overwhelmed he is by you, that his body couldn't hold back, that your energy, your presence, your magnetism took him all the way there. And if he's fantasizing about that with you, trust me, you've already got a grip on his mind. And that kind of grip doesn't fade. There's a powerful shift that happens in a man's mind when he feels like his pleasure matters just as much as yours. And in this fantasy, surprisingly, he feels like the one being worshipped.
It flips the script, because while a lot of sexual dynamics center on the man pursuing, pleasing, and performing, this moment when he finishes on you taps into a very different emotional space. It tells him something few women ever say out loud. I want to feel all of you. I'm not afraid of your desire. I welcome it. And that message hits him right in the heart, not just below the belt, because suddenly it's not just about what he can do for you. It's about being so deeply accepted that you want him at his most raw and unfiltered. That kind of validation makes a man feel not just turned on, but seen.
Now here's where it gets deeper. Most men carry a kind of silent pressure to always be in control, to manage their emotions, to not be too messy, too needy, too much. But when you allow him to let go like this, with that much freedom and intensity, you're telling him, you don't have to hold back with me. I can handle your full desire. That permission is rare, and it's addictive. And here's something women don't realize. When you treat a man's pleasure like it's sacred, not just tolerated, but truly welcomed, he will begin to associate you with emotional comfort. He'll feel a softness toward you, a sense of loyalty.
Because you've created a space where he doesn't feel like he has to earn being fully expressive. He simply can be. Think of it like this. Women are used to hearing messages that say you deserve to feel sexy, you deserve to be adored, and you absolutely do. But men crave that too. And while most won't admit it, being adored physically is one of the few ways they let themselves feel it. This fantasy makes him feel like you want him that much, that you let him express that desire freely, without shame, without filter, without performance, just raw desire, honored and accepted. And the best part is, when a man feels this emotionally safe and physically accepted, he becomes more generous, more attentive, more connected, because he's no longer trapped in his own head about whether he's doing it right. He's just being real. And realness is where the deepest connection lies.
So yes, when he fantasizes about finishing on you, he's fantasizing about that emotional release too, about finally being with a woman who gets it, who doesn't just allow intimacy, but elevates it. When a man fantasizes about finishing on a woman, it often represents something much more than a physical act. It's the symbol of ultimate arousal, of being so overwhelmed by lust, so consumed by attraction that he can't hold it any longer. It's raw, it's intense, and most importantly, it's not something he dreams of doing with just anyone. This kind of fantasy is reserved for the woman who unleashes something primal in him.
Not just because of how she looks, but because of how she makes him feel. It's about chemistry, confidence, and the emotional cocktail that gets shaken up when a woman fully steps into her sexual power. She's not trying too hard. She's not playing a role. She's simply being herself, comfortable in her own skin, unafraid, fully in her body. And that energy is irresistible. In his mind, this act becomes the exclamation point at the end of a sentence that says, "You drive me crazy." It's not controlled or calculated, it's a surrender.
And men rarely surrender unless they feel completely captivated. So if he's fantasizing about this with you, it's not just about visuals, it's about what you trigger in him emotionally. You stir up a fire he can't extinguish. You touch a nerve he didn't even know he had. What's more, this fantasy taps into something men don't get to express, the desire to lose control. So much of a man's life is built around control, his work, his emotions, his responsibilities. But when he's with a woman who turns him on to this degree, all that control goes out the window. And ironically, losing control in front of you is what makes him feel most free. That's why women who trigger this kind of surrender often leave a lasting impression, not because of what they did physically, but because of the feeling they created. And here's the true thing. It's not about being wild or doing anything outrageous, it's about presence. When you're fully present in the moment, when you meet his hunger with your own, when you make him feel desired back, you turn the entire experience into something unforgettable.
That's what he's really fantasizing about. A moment where everything else disappears, and it's just you and him locked in the kind of intensity that doesn't happen every day. So yes, finishing on you becomes the symbol of that height of lust, but underneath it, realize there is a desire to feel something rare, a desire to remember you, not just as a sexual partner, but as the woman who took him there, to that edge. And once you've taken him there, he'll crave it again and again. So, let's bring it all together. When a man fantasizes about finishing on you, it's not just about the physicality. It's the feeling behind it, the trust, the openness, the desire to surrender, to claim, to connect. It's about being with a woman who doesn't just accept his passion, but invites it.
A woman who makes him feel like he can let go and still be deeply respected, wanted, and safe. That fantasy isn't about disrespect, it's about intensity. And it only exists when there's a powerful energy exchange happening between you two.
Here's what I want you to take away. This isn't about doing anything you're not comfortable with. You never have to say yes to anything that doesn't feel good in your body or soul. But understanding what this fantasy means gives you leverage, because when you see it through an emotional lens, you realize the power you hold as a woman to make a man feel not just turned on, but truly seen and freed. Realize that. And when you understand that power, you stop asking, how do I keep a man's attention?
Because you become the answer. Now, if you found this helpful, if it gave you a new perspective, don't keep it to yourself. Give this video a like, hit that subscribe button, and drop a comment if you've ever shared a moment like this, or if you're ready to create one. Because this channel is here to help you become the most magnetic, confident, unforgettable version of yourself. And trust me, when you tap into that energy, he won't just want your body, he'll crave your presence.